Hey guys, I'm here to do a little bit of a shorter video today. There's not much to talk about in terms of actual patch notes. This is merely like an announcement about the PTR and the new systems that are coming in the game. So we're just gonna do a little overview of that. I'm gonna talk about my things I'm scared about, the things I'm hopeful about for the upcoming patch, and the event that's coming. So, uh, 2 days ago, they announced the PTR, which contains the patch that's coming, I believe, next week. So we're essentially getting the seasonal event, which I will come back to later. We're getting new content in the form of ice caves. We're getting new quests, new journal categories. We're getting a new system. We're getting uh, a way to gather to get more XP into these trade skills that have been maxed out. A bunch of of balance changes. Um, Now this may seem a little bit light. Where's the new weapons? Where's all that cool stuff? Uh, I'll as I go through this, as I go through these systems, you'll kind of understand why this patch is smaller, but also more meaningful. I believe in a lot of ways. Uh, there's a the high watermark system, which kind of everyone uh, agreed that it sucked, like big deal, big time, is getting renamed slash replaced. It's now going to be called expertise, and it's also getting paired with something called the gypsum system. So I'll spare you the reading of this. You can read the PTR announcement if you want. But essentially, what's going to happen is a lot of the different daily tasks that you can do, right? Killing named bosses, killing expedition bosses, doing outpost rush, doing arena, doing corrupted breaches, all of those activities will now reward a specific type of currency called the gypsum. Once you have all of the gypsum for that activity, you can now craft an orb, and that orb can be crafted into a cast of any weapon, armor, or trinket type. Essentially, what this gives you the ability to do is to target the grind that you want to do, right? So before you had to kind of just go about your business as like farming named bosses or running Murkguard or running whatever, and kind of just raising the gear score of everything because you didn't know what you were gonna get. This kind of dumb, stupid target, like untargeted grind is kind of gone now, and instead you're left with a daily targeted grind for your specific builds, right? Say you want to wear light or heavy, well, you can target your gear score upgrades, your expertise upgrades, essentially towards that specific system. Uh, Now the details of how that will play out, the numbers, how much gold the how much gold crafting these items is going to cost us. All of these are undetermined. There's talks. The values that are on the PTR right now that have been data mined are horrifying, but I don't believe they will remain so. Uh, that's why I don't really go into details much. It's more of I'm doing this more as a kind of an introduction to the system. Next, which personally I'm very excited about, is the trade skill aptitude. So essentially, to give you a little TLDR, almost every single one of the trade skills that can gather experience will not be capped at 200 anymore. So essentially, what happens after you reach 200 in the trade skill is the leveling circle will update to show three markers equidistant from each other on the circle, and each of these markers is a threshold that will give you a reward. After the third threshold, you will gain a crate. Fun fact: the that some of these some of these trade skills will actually reward you crates that contain gypsum. So leveling these trade skills daily is your kind of your ticket to that. Something I forgot to mention, and arguably the most controversial of the system, is that gypsum and crafting these orbs and these casts and all of that is very much a daily limited thing. So you will only be able to craft a cast for a weapon type only once per day, right? So you can only you're limited to making I think they said 7 of these casts a day, right? There's like some like 20 different expertise that you can craft, right? All the different weapon types and all the different armor types, and then there's trinkets, jewelry, and necklaces. So you will only, as of right now, the way the PTR and the data mine work, is the game is coded to only allow you 7 gypsum a day, which is a hard task, right? Not everyone has the gear score right now to do some arena content, to do an expedition, and to then go farm like some corruption portals that are 65, right? Uh, Realistically, I believe personally that uh, it will be better to get maybe 1, 2, or 3 of these gear score upgrades a day. Now, how rewarding these will be, like I said, we don't know. We don't know the exact details. I want to hold judgment until we actually see some numbers and we play the game to know if it's bad or good. I'm just interested in the mechanics of the system, and I think it's better than what we have now as the high watermark system, which is just horribly grindy for no reason. Uh, the One of the things that's not mentioned here, but it's mentioned in the end game update patch notes that they dropped in the forums, is that sadly all of the gear that is higher than your expertise in starting in early 2022, that gear will get downgraded. That means that gone are the days of you buying a 600 gear score shitty roll on the market just so you can get the good stats and the good damage. That item, it will essentially get nerfed in place essentially. So if you have like you spent like weeks crafting your void bent armor and you're worried that it's gonna get downgraded forever, don't worry. What's essentially going to happen is your 600 void bent armor is gonna get downscaled to like 520 power or whatever your expertise is for like the slots. And as you gain expertise levels in those specific slots, the gear score of the gear will raise accordingly. So the item is still a 600 gear score item. You just haven't unlocked its full potential. That's how they're kind of explaining it. Uh, like I was mentioning, you don't have to worry. The system, this the whole downgrading bullshit isn't releasing until early 2022, so we don't have to worry too much about our stuff getting nerfed into the snow just yet. They're making some changes for PvP regarding damage formula updates. They're adjusting the way armor mitigation is calculated using gear score of your enemy instead of your average gear score. They're adjusting armor mitigations for certain weapons. They're essentially reversing the scaling. So low level players dealing will deal more damage to high level players, and high level players will deal less damage to low level players. They're changing how crit works, and they're kind of tweaking the buffer window where your iframes are. Um, Now these are kind of the only mechanics. There's the ice caves that I didn't really mention. I don't know much about them. We'll know when they come out. I haven't played the PTR much. But essentially, they're areas where it's just constantly frosty. You can see the image here. I think it looks really cool. I love the design of it. I think it's awesome. There might be some unique enemies, some unique mechanics, some unique cool weapons. And we get the event, which I'm just gonna give you a TLDR of the event because I don't think it's that big of a deal. Essentially, certain territories they get special villages where you can go get quests at an NPC, and it's essentially like a whole new grind of reputation. The exact same system as the reputation system for your company and your not your company, for your faction. It's the exact same system, just with a different like a different color, and it's a different shop, right? But the event shop where you can reward, like where you can claim these tokens that you can grind, will essentially allow you to get rewards. I've checked out the PTR. Personally, I've checked out the shop. There's nothing interesting. It's mostly weapons that are shitty but look cool, right? Like weapons that are powerful, but that are cool and that are like Christmas theme, right? There's like ice shields and ice swords and ice great axes and a bunch of other cool stuff. Things that we don't really care about. Personally, I don't think it's that cool, right? If I'm grinding for 600 gear score, I don't want to get the shitty 520 fucking event item that I grind a week for, right? There's gonna be three kind of main events, right? Which is one where you complete town projects at the town board. There's one where you look for lost presents all across Aeternum, and there's one where you collect Gleamite, which is like these meteors that fall. Now, with all of these being said, I do want to turn our attention to the dev blog, where the developers actually went and explained a lot of the things that people were worrying about, explaining these systems, the details of these systems. There's a few things in here that I want to look at. So essentially, in game, this is what your expertise is gonna look like. You can see for like all the armor and stuff equipped, you can see your expertise per slot, which is really nice because it allows you to, at a glance, just look. Oh yeah, okay, this is how much my slots are at, right? Um, there's seven types of end game activities, and they're each classified, giving a specific reward. I won't go over them. I'll leave the link in the patch notes. I'll leave the link in the channel. You guys can go check that out. Uh, Essentially, what they're doing also, which is wasn't mentioned in PTR, but this is kind of like the official patch notes, is they're improving rewards for expedition bosses. Now, all of the chests have been fixed. You'll have a chance to get random expertise bumps in these chests. The boss will also guarantee a sapphire gypsum drop. Um, they're adding, and this is like it's dropped here, kind of as a kind of as a meme. It's like sprinkled in there as if it wasn't important. They're adding item shard as a guaranteed drop for expedition bosses. So item shards are a new crafting ingredient that will enable us crafters to craft an item with a specific attribute bonus on it while also being able to use a craft mod. So you can now guarantee a perk and an attribute, which makes crafting so much less random, which I'm personally unreasonably hyped about because it's finally going to give me a reason to go in these expeditions, right? Because I'm going to want to get some of these myself. There's many more details here. They actually go in a very well detailed explanation about the expertise system and kind of their vision for it. I recommend you go read it if you don't care, if you care about it. Like I said, this is very much just stuff we're figuring out right now. They're just kind of throwing this at the wind, seeing the feedback and stuff like that. Um, I went on the PTR. I checked it out. It was pretty cool. I'm not too hyped about it. I'm hyped about the things that I couldn't test on the PTR, right? Like on the PTR, your skills were capped at 180, so I couldn't test out the rewarding system because I'm not gonna spend 5 hours getting from 180 to 200 in logging just to test out a fucking system, right? And the expertise, you couldn't see it in the PTR just yet. One of the things that worried me and a lot of people was is the expertise system going to reset your high watermark? And they've confirmed that no, it will not. So if you've grinded your ass to 600, well, you're in luck because everything is gonna be okay. Here they're confirming more stuff. Like I've mentioned earlier, your item isn't gonna lose its gear score forever. It's more like a temporary downgrade where you have to unlock its full potential. And just a bunch of other goodies. If you're worried, if you're scared, if you're curious, definitely go and give these a read. They're a must read, in my opinion. If you're actually interested in the nitty gritty, If you don't care, honestly, just wait for the update next week. I believe it's gonna drop next week. PTRs have always dropped like the other PTR dropped a week after, right? They dropped like the Thursday because it was supposed to drop Wednesday, but there was some shitty stuff that happened in EU and stuff like that that kind of delayed the update a bit. I believe it's gonna drop next Wednesday. I have no reason to think otherwise. And yeah, I think it's going to be a cool holiday season events. We're going to grind that. There's reasons to do expeditions and all of that now. So that's really cool. Looking forward to it.